time, the indefinite continued progress of existence, and events in the past, present, and future regarded as a whole. It is a measure constructed by man to keep the mind in a prison. Since birth, we've all been contending a race that no one will ever win. The constant struggle of the everyday hustle and bustle just to punch another man's clock. Priceless seconds ticking away till one day you wake up and you're old. There's a ninth dimension beyond that which is known to man. It is a parallel as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It serves as a meeting point between light and darkness, between science and superstition, religion and politics, and it lies between the pit of man's fear and the summit of his knowledge. For the remainder of this episode, we will journey to the unknown, one time for your mind.
Hi, welcome back to another edition of One Time for Your Mind. I'm your host, the International Tate Incorporated, and today's subject is going to focus on ungratefulness. This has been a topic that everybody's been hitting me up to do, and I just never had time to get around to it, so I don't want to be a hypocrite about being ungrateful. I'm grateful for the comments and stuff coming in, so let me get to this particular episode. Before I get into this episode, let me give a shout out to one of my sponsors, actually two of my sponsors, Team Tate America and Team Tate Canada. And you can hit them up at www.teamtateamerica.com. And north of the border, you got www.teamtatecanada.com. Vision, not division. Okay, so let's kind of get into it with the being ungrateful. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm just going to kind of get into it because, you know, that's not something that I do. Everybody knows somebody who they feel is ungrateful. You know, whether it be you're giving them a place to stay and they're not paying any rent, or it might be giving somebody advice on a job and they're not saying thank you for it. It's the small things that count, okay? People don't know how hard you're riding for them until you actually park. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't mind telling people no or parking the car, because self-preservation is better than anything. When you get into a situation or a point in your life where you're solely based on making everybody else happy but yourself, you go into a downward spiral. And for my airplane pilots out there, you know what I'm talking about. Once you go into a nosedive, it's almost nearly impossible to bring that plane out of that nosedive. It is almost certainly you're going to hit the ground, okay? I like to stay, myself, I like to stay neutral, okay? Because if I fall from a neutral standpoint, I don't have very far to fall. But if I rise from a neutral standpoint, you know, it's half the time. Imagine if you're all the way up here and then you fall to the ground. That's a long way to go right there. Or if you're already on rock bottom and you have to climb back to the top. Let me give you an analogy what I'm talking about. I want you to go outside if you're not already outside, okay? And find the biggest tree that you can find. And then ask yourself, or ask somebody else, how long do you think it would take for you to climb that tree? Okay? Some might say 10, 15 minutes, 20, 30 minutes, right? Depending on how big the tree is, what type of tree it is. Ask that same person the same question. Now, how long would it take you to fall out of the tree back to the ground? Now that's an analogy. You're always going to fall or descend. The descension is always faster than ascension, or going up, okay? So next time you have to climb back up something, be mindful of what you're actually taking back up there with you, okay? If you have to take so many things to climb that tree, you're going to look at your arsenal a little bit different than having to just, I'm just going to climb the biggest tree. Because you know, you may have to fall back down. I was always told to be careful about the feet you step on, because those feet might be attached to the butt that you may have to kiss on your way back up. And a lot of times it's not even clean butt. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the type of situation we're in. I said this before and I'm going to say it again. We're living in a cookie cutter generation. Me too, or I must have, or everything is nobody wants to earn anything anymore. You know what I'm saying? You give it to them on a platter and they feel like this is owed to me. But when you run across somebody like me who doesn't even owe you an explanation, I do what I want to do when I want to do it. I don't owe you or anybody else an explanation. I only have to answer to the man in the mirror. Michael Jackson said it best, man. Michael Jackson gave y'all the blueprint for this stuff. I'm talking about the man in the mirror. We've heard it before. You know what I'm saying? The Billie Jean is not my lover, and you end up with a Thriller. You get the message here, you know what I'm saying? But remember now, you can be dangerous on your own accord, or you can just beat it. But remember the time when you were special to yourself, before you decide to share yourself with other people who we consider ungrateful, okay? For lack of better words. Let me give you some of my phrases that I've come up with, and y'all free to use these right here. People will do whatever they want, regardless of your feelings, once they realize you will be okay or free to what they're giving you. Nothing in life is free. If it's worth it, it's worth working for. But what happens when you pay for a dud, okay? You ever went out and bought a car that was a dud, or you know, you bought a device and it didn't function like you thought it was going to function, and you was a little disappointed? Don't be disappointed. Be mad at yourself because you put a lot of faith in something that you had no knowledge of. You understand what I'm saying? And some may say, well, you know, it's the lesson that matters. Yes, it's the lesson that matters, but you got little lessons and you got big lessons. You know what I'm saying? If you don't understand what I'm saying, go in your stove, go in the kitchen and touch the stove. Touch the stove while it's hot. Okay? it doesn't take long for you to put your hand on there before you realize it's hot. Sometimes you ain't got to touch it at all. You can feel the heat coming off of it, and something will register in your mind that this is a bad thing right here. Okay, I was always told to follow my intuition or instincts and gut feelings and all that stuff like that. You know, because people got a way of repeating patterns. You know what I'm saying? If it's something that's in somebody, if somebody tells you something, you gotta take it for face value, because whether they're intoxicated or under the influence of something, or sleepy or something like that, people are gonna tell you really how they feel about you. And they could do it jokingly. What's up with you, man? Your little bitty car, man. Oh, I'm just playing. No, they wasn't playing. They were just testing the water to see how you react. You know what I'm saying? And once they realize they can get a reaction out of you, they're gonna keep on doing that. It's gonna keep pushing the button, because they got the right chemistry to make the reaction happen. But see, where every action, there's a chain reaction. You understand what I'm saying? And so when the chain letters were real popular when I was coming up, I never did it. I just get the text messages, send this to 10 people or something bad was gonna happen to you, or like this message if you agree with such and such. Those things get deleted or go into the spam box. But sometimes you have to look at real life spam, okay? What happens when you come across a person that's ungrateful and you want to put them in a spam box? You can't physically, bottle them up, or maybe you can, but you shouldn't do so. I don't condone violence. I believe there's a way to do everything, and I try to do things diplomatically. And if you're hearing the sound of my voice, I'm assuming some of y'all can reason enough to do things diplomatically if in your power to do so. But when it comes to an ungrateful person, that may or may not matter. You know what I'm saying? Imagine playing a game, okay? Hear me, you're playing a game, and everybody plays the game hopefully for wins, right? You ask your Jordans or whatever, they play for the win, right? It ain't all about it. The fellowship was great, man, but ultimately at the end of the day, man, I want to win the game, okay? Imagine playing a game where there's no win in sight. There is no win. You understand what I'm saying? No matter how fast you go or which direction you go, it's always going to be an L. At some point in the back of your head, you're like, maybe this game isn't worth me playing. I don't get any joy out of it. I don't see the point of it, okay? Look at the kids that were in school. Right now we're in this, C-virus situation. A lot of kids are being, doing things virtual. But imagine you was in school and the teacher's job, the one job, right, was to convey the information that they had in their head, or the curriculum that the state, whatever state it might be, set aside to be, disseminated to the kids or the students or adult students they were teaching, and they did a terrible, absolute terrible job at what they were doing. At some point, after sleeping in their class, you're going to get to the point where you're going to start skipping the class, and eventually you're going to try to transfer from the class if possible. Or you might just flunk the class altogether. It becomes redundant. You understand what I'm saying? And, when people say day one, I hear that word being tossed around a lot, that phrase, that's my day one, or that's my, whatever. What is a day one, okay? If I met you yesterday and I was already grown, and then when we're 60 years old, and my day one for you will be at 30, you understand what I'm saying? If I met you in the hospital when we came out of the womb, then my day one would be day one. So we have to reevaluate what the day one is. You understand what I'm saying? And be careful when you put titles on people, whether it be day one, whether it be a girlfriend, or whether it be a boyfriend, a husband, a wife, cousin, or play. Be careful what titles you put on that, because if the people don't live up to that, you're gonna end up with a problem. You're gonna be disappointed in yourself, because you put in faith in people who may or may not be considered ungrateful, okay? It's the small things that count, okay? I'm gonna give you a perfect example when it comes to Father's Day and Mother's Day. When it comes to Mother's Day, it's like a major holiday. You know about it months in advance, right? You know what I'm saying? You're probably getting things from last year in preparation for the next year. But see, you're a mother every single day of the year. But when it comes to the father, you may see one or two commercials, and it's always about tools or a tie or something like that. How about show me a commercial of something, this is a past where daddy don't have to fix something that's broken that he didn't break, or a past that he don't have to correct an action that was put in place that shouldn't have been put in place from an ungrateful person from the get-go. How about there's a past where daddy don't pay all the bills and you pull your fair share of the way? Those are the things that I talk about. That's reality for me. So when it comes to Father Day, I'm a father every single day. I don't get excited for these things. You know what I'm saying? But if I did, it's the small things that count. Maybe a phone call and say, hey man, appreciate you, man, happy Father's Day or something. And it doesn't even have to be from your kids. You know what I'm saying? It can be from people that you poured yourself into and you're like a father figure or a mother figure to them. You know what I'm saying? Those are the small things I'm talking about, and it makes things worthwhile. Let me hit you with some more phrases that I wrote down over here. Sometimes I regret being nice, apologizing when I didn't do anything wrong, and for making unworthy, ungrateful people a priority in my life. Okay? That's how I feel, and maybe some of the people listening to this feel the same way. Or you may feel like, you know, don't kill people with kindness because not everybody deserves your kindness. Okay? Kill people with silence. Okay? And silence says a whole lot. Kill them with silence, because not everyone deserves your attention. Okay? Now, I'm really knocking on some doors over there. Okay? I don't want to get too deep because, you know, this platform that you're listening to right now, somebody might flag my video. But if you're hearing the sound of my voice, this is a warning. Ladies and gentlemen, I am the International Tate Incorporated. This is season 4 of One Time for Your Mind. Thank you for your time. I'm out.
One time for your mind, one time.
One time.
One time for your mind, one time.
One time.
Break free of the box that keep your thoughts confined. Concentrate to hear the message through the rhymes. One time for your minds. Pry your eyelids open. Don't ignore the signs. Take chime in with his peace of mind. Message spreads to all. To beware the times.
One time for your mind, one time.
One time.
One time for your mind, one time.
One time.
Break free of the box and keep your thoughts confined. Concentrate and hear the message through these rhymes. One time for your minds. Pray your eyelids open. Don't ignore the signs. Take chime in with his peace of mind. Spread this message to all. To beware the times. One time for your mind, one time.
One time.
One time for your mind, one time.
One time.
Break free of the box that keeps your thoughts confined. Concentrate to hear the message through these rhymes.